everyone to another episode of Mental Unblock. This is your host Omar, and this week we are joined by a truly exceptional entrepreneur. She is a board member of the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce, a board member of the UAE SME Council, director of Sara Al Madani Fashion Design, director and partner of Social Fish Digital Agency, and she's also the partner of Hula Tech, based out of California, and the mother of a beautiful child. She is Sara Al Madani, here with us at Mental Unblock Studios. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. We've been waiting to get you.
I'm excited about this.
Likewise.
Yeah.
So you're quite busy.
Yeah.
I actually, for the first time, had to use an auto cue to remember.
Well, I'm honored.
Get through everything that you do.
All right. No.
So here's a question right off the bat. Are you what they call a jack of all trades?
I don't know if I am, but all I know is like, as humans, you can do anything and everything you want.
Can you though? Do you not drop the ball on things eventually?
No, you're definitely meant for some things and some things not.
Right.
But how would you find out if you don't try?
Absolutely.
So I believe that we have 24 hours a day. You can build an empire in that time. So why waste it?
Excellent.
Yeah.
So listen, you've had a fair share of success. Very interested in talking about that. Also very interested in talking about a lot of the difficulties and challenges that you've gone through during your entrepreneurial career. To get people out there to know who Sara is, let's take a step back. Tell us a little bit more about your childhood, your upbringing, your family. Where were you born? How were you raised? Walk us through that.
Right. So I'm half Emirati, half Bahraini. My dad's Bahraini.
Okay.
Born and raised here in the UAE. It's my country. It's my mother country. And I remember my dad told me when I was around 12, he said, when you were 3, you used to massage us for money. I don't remember that. I don't know why the hell did I do that. And then he said, by the age of 5, you would buy candy and resell it at a higher price to your cousins that couldn't leave the house to go to get candy.
Wow.
I don't remember any of this, but apparently my dad says you had that in you.
Sure.
Ever since you were born, you had that entrepreneurial spirit in you.
Sure.
And even though I couldn't explain it, it came to life when I was 15. And I think it's because like I realized that every time I wanted something, my parents would tell me, you need to work hard to get it. You need to work hard to get it. I wanted some toys I couldn't get. My dad's like, you need to work hard to get it. So I was like, why would I wait for them to work hard to get me something? Why can't I just do it myself? And I also had an aunt who went through like a bad divorce. And it made me look at her in a way that, what if one day I was left alone and no one was there to support me? I want to be my own boss.
Sure.
I want to do my own thing. So when I was 15, I financially cut myself off from my family, still lived with them, and just went on a journey to start a business. And I actually opened my first company when I was 15.
Right. So
Yeah.
is it fair to say that you had a normal or abnormal childhood?
I was an abnormal child.
An abnormal child.
Yeah,
But what was
yeah.
your childhood like? Was it a normal childhood?
Very normal childhood, like every kid. But the thing is, I knew as a person, and everyone around me knew that my mind was way bigger than my age. So, abnormal kid.
Right.
Yeah.
So you discovered that you were an entrepreneur at the age of 15, really kind of realized it at that point, decided to go out and make your own. How did you make money at 15? What did you do?
So, when I was when I turned 15, 2 months into turning 15, I was like, okay, how do I get money to open my first company, which is a fashion design company? And I was like, without asking mom and dad, and I went to my dad and I was like, listen, from now on, I'm financially independent. I don't want any money of you. And they all laughed. Like, they're like, oh, yeah, she'll come back, you know. Never did. So what I did is I used to buy and sell electronics.
Okay.
Like here and there, because you know, as a local, being 15, my parents would not allow me to work. Like
Sure.
this is like not even in our culture.
Sure.
So I remember I used to do promotions in the malls,
Okay.
like with like Coke and Pepsi and all that, all these
Okay.
things. And I once got caught. I denied it was me, but
Right.
then there was a picture, so
Right.
I couldn't deny it. And I just, in like 6 to 9 months, I collected 20,000 dirhams.
Okay.
That's including my allowance, including me selling everything I have and buying and selling items and promotional jobs here and there. 20,000 dirhams back then was a lot of money.
Sure.
So got the store, paid key money, got the store. It's a tailor in the industrial area in Ajman. So
This is for Rouge Couture?
yeah, it was called Rouge Couture,
Okay.
but now it's called Sara Al Madani Fashion Design.
Right.
So paid the key money, which included a rent for a whole year, which included 2 staff with the store, and it was a men's tailor. And I just had to sit there for 6 months with paid rent and not knowing how to do anything because I had zero information about fashion.
So why did you start that though?
Because I just wanted to change the way women wore their traditional clothes and made them more strong and powerful with their traditional wear.
Okay. So you got started, struggled a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah.
But then eventually the business grew.
Yeah.
You ended up with 4 outlets, I think.
Yeah, 4.
You were quite successful at one point, but then things went horribly wrong, I think?
Yes.
Okay, tell us more.
Yeah, so within, and alhamdulillah, I didn't even expect this to happen because these tailors were men's tailors, and they were like, ma'am, we're not going to do women's clothes. And I had to convince them to try. So little by little, we built a relationship. The company grew into 2 branches, 3 branches, a factory, around 89 staff to start with, reached to 120-something staff. But in 2013, I went bankrupt completely and lost everything.
In 2013, you went completely bankrupt?
Yeah, completely. Like, I had 0 money.
What happened? How did you go from that, expanding and having 89 staff and having that growth, to all of a sudden going bankrupt? What did you do wrong?
So the thing is, picture this. From 2002 or 1, when the company opened, I can't even recall anymore, until 2013, every single dime I made, like my net profit, I didn't touch it because I wanted to invest in real estate.
Sure.
And I had a partnership that went wrong, and that partnership took everything down the drain, and I lost everything I had.
What was that partnership?
It was a business partnership.
Okay.
And it just went wrong. And the thing is, if there's one thing I've learned out of this failure experience, and waking up one day with my checks bouncing and my staff are like no salaries, rent to pay for all these branches. If there's one thing I've learned, it's to own your mistake and not to blame it on others. So my mistake was that I didn't go through good contracts between me and my partners, and I wasn't safe in my contracts. And you know how people are, yeah, I love you, love me, yeah, we're friends, yeah, cool, let's high five, and let's sign just a normal document that doesn't even preserve anyone's rights. Right. So I did that. It was my mistake, and I won't. If people are unethical at work, I won't take that as my mistake. That's them. Right. But how did things go wrong? It's because I wasn't careful.
Right.
So, and that taught me a lot. And actually, went through court for a long time and all that, which I should have listened to my lawyer and not went for it for a whole time. But when you're mad at something like that, you just want your rights back. Sure. But at a certain point, you're like, take everything you want and I want out of this, you know, completely. But you know what? Life works in mysterious ways, because the minute this happened, a couple of months into it, I got selected as a board member at the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Right. So then I realized, God and life all works in a mysterious way. Maybe this wasn't meant for me, and the only way for me to get out of it is to be slapped in the face.
Did you enter other partnerships after that?
Of course. 100%.
So that didn't stop you from wanting to work with other people?
No, hell no. Okay. I am kinder, I'm nicer, I trust people more. I won't let one person's darkness take over my life. You know what I mean?
But more cautious, probably.
Yes, 100%. So my contracts come first now.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent. You actually said at one point something very interesting, and I'll quote. And I'm assuming this is after things went south with the partnership. You said, should I quit and just go crying to people so they can save me, or go crying to the government so they can take me out of this, or do I just fight for this because it's my baby, my passion, and my dream?
Yeah.
How did you find, at that point, the actual power or the courage or the will to fight?
Well, the thing is, to me, when it comes to business, leadership is my number one thing. So when team works, dream works. So my number one inspiration for not giving up and not breaking down and going to my parents and saying, fine, let's solve this now. Or the government saying, hey, I messed up, come fix this, help me. Was my staff, because I had so many lives and families to take care of. Sure. And I was like, it's my fault, my mistake. I did this, I need to go back and fix this. So that was my biggest motivation, is knowing these people had families, they depended on me. Everyone depended on me. And my clients and all that. And I mean, when you're an entrepreneur, there's one thing you need to learn. You can't be emotionally attached to a business, because business comes and goes.
Absolutely. And
you're just building a personal brand, which is you. You will never go. You fail, yeah, but you learn. But a brand, if it goes down and you're emotionally attached to it, everything goes down the drain.
Speaking of emotionally and crying, did you cry?
Yeah.
Really?
Of course.
How long?
Actually, I didn't cry enough, and that's why I ended up being sick and tired for 3 3 years, my health was deteriorating because I kept everything inside. I did cry at the beginning because of the shock of, hey, I'm a good person. Why did this happen to me? I've never hurt anybody. You know that those things we go through. But then I realized that if you're good, you're still good. That doesn't change. But some people are bad around you, but you're still good.
Correct. How did you come out of that situation when you were talking about, you know, having bills to pay, having to make payroll, your checks bouncing, and so on? What did you do at that point? I mean, where did you find the money?
I actually took loans from people that I know.
Sure.
And paid them off immediately right after I got the money. And I got a couple of loans here and there. I sold a couple of things I had.
Right.
Properties, cars, things I own and stuff like that. So it covered to maintain like at least 2-3 months of work. And then I got back on track and started working again. Was
your father one of the people you took money from?
No.
Okay, I was trying to prove the point about at the age of 15, you taking more money from. Okay.
No, because you know what? My parents took so much care of me and my siblings, so much, and education, and they were not only parents, they were friends as well. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to ask Dad because at this point, I need to be giving Dad, I need to be supporting Dad because Dad did everything for me.
Sure.
So it wasn't ego. It was me being responsible towards that promise I took. And I've always had it in, I've always told myself, Sara, one day you're going to be taking care of your family. They wouldn't be needing anything. And I wanted that to motivate me.
Sure.
And that was actually one of the fuels to the fire as well.
Was your family or your parents, were they actually supportive of you being an entrepreneur or a business person? And I asked that, by the way, also with you being, you know, a female, a woman in the Middle East. Did that play a role in them saying, no, this is not the approach we want you to take? Or were they actually supportive of you?
You see, alhamdulillah, my parents are very open-minded, both of them. So culture was never an issue because we were taught that culture is something man-made and it's a box of chocolate. You pick your flavors, you eat them, the rest you keep. But you respect, obviously. So culture was never an issue when it came to me being a woman. But
were they supportive?
They were supportive, but I've never said that to anyone, but I'll say it now. I'm sorry, Dad, I have to say this.
we know how much you love your dad. I've seen what you've said about him.
I love Daddy.
But yes.
I'm a daddy's girl. So, but I remember at the beginning, being 15 to the age of 18, I had to stay out and work late, and my parents would never understand or support. So I used to run away at home at night from the window, Dad, sorry! Or I never said this to anyone.
I'm glad you are. You're
Dad, I did.
I'm sure he'll forgive you.
He will.
Given what you've achieved today, knowing who you are, he'll be okay.
So I did that. I used to he used to hide my car keys when I was 18, and I used to steal those and run away at night just to work, just to zone out and be with my staff and stuff. They didn't understand that at the beginning, but I remember when I opened my third branch, I was giving a speech, and then my dad comes out in the crowd and he's like, can I say something? I was like, sure, Dad, come on. And he gets the mic and he apologizes publicly to me and says, I was the reason her work was delayed. I was the reason it took her a longer time. I kept her in. I didn't let her go out, and I was worried about my child. She's my baby, but he's like, now I'm proud of her. And he's like, I'm sorry. And I was like, Dad, no. And I was in tears.
I'll be honest, I'm getting goosebumps here.
Yeah,
I really am.
It really meant a lot because, I mean, sometimes, you know, when you're a parent, and now that I am one, when you're a parent and your child wants to go through the hardship of life, you go like, but that's my job. I want to go through the hardship of life for you. So I guess my dad was just trying to protect me, but he was always supportive. But after that, when he saw the success and he saw that this is real, and I wasn't just running away from home to hang out with friends and stuff, he actually was 100% supportive.
Now, you said you stopped taking money from your parents at the age of 15. You were adamant about making your own money. You went as far as, you know, escaping from the window and sneaking out at night. What was your motivation? Was it money?
No, I was never motivated by money. None of my businesses were made for the sake of making money. It was for the sake of personal growth, experience, exposure, learning, positioning, branding myself, and raising teams and just dealing with them. Now, money is a necessity, but never a priority, because if your number one motive is money, the minute money doesn't come, you're going to leave the business because you're going to not be passionate about it.
Sure.
So the minute you're doing what you're passionate about and you love it so much, money comes.
Right.
So I was never motivated by money. Never.
There was a quote, which I can't remember exactly, but you were talking about if you had a pocket full of money versus a pocket full of hope, you would choose a pocket full of hope?
Yeah, because I have thousands of friends who have a lot of money. They're not doing anything about it. Because a pocket full of passion and hope and aggression toward a goal takes you way further and makes you find money, makes you find partners, make you find exceptional things that a pocket full of money won't give you.
Right. So we had a couple of people earlier when we were looking at some of your quotes online, and they wanted me to ask you, so how did it work with hope paying the bills as opposed to a pocket full of money? But I think I understand what you're saying, is that obviously having the hope will help you achieve what you want and get the money, obviously.
Exactly.
So, excellent. Now, what was the hardest moment that you actually experienced? And we're going to start talking about some of your current ventures that you're working on now.
Yeah.
But looking back, reflecting right now, what was the hardest moment that you can reflect back on that resonates with you during your entrepreneurial period?
I guess it was the bankruptcy thing. Yeah, because I wasn't ready for it, and then it made me think, okay, for the past 11 or whatsoever years, every single dime I made, I saved. I was like, what if I took that and spent it on like educating myself more or doing more? But then, you know, you can't go back and change time, so regret is now not a best friend of mine, and I never attached to it.
Now, you spoke about your family being supportive of what, to an extent, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But that's natural from a Middle Eastern parents, obviously being protective of their daughter, and I completely get that.
Yeah.
What about other sacrifices that were made? Your marital status, you're married, you're divorced?
I was married.
You were married?
Yeah.
Okay. And was the divorce a result of you being a strong entrepreneur? Did that take a toll on the actual marital situation?
Maybe it was somehow involved in it, because as you said, our culture is completely different.
Sure.
And for us, it's a man's world, and a woman does not belong in that. So all I can say is that sometimes we take decisions that are emotional, and I believe that if things did not work, you just move on. You know, you don't waste time there trying if trying didn't even revive it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was just, he's a great man, but probably never weren't meant to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I mean,
but it happened during the time of the bankruptcy. So,
right.
So that's why I told you for a while I actually got sick, and I was tired physically. I actually got sick physically because everything was just kept in. But bad things happen at once always.
Sure.
Right? Yeah.
I was going to say, so for the most part, you really had to deal with most of this on your own.
Yeah.
Now, if you can actually go back, is there anything you would have done differently in terms of maybe saving the marriage? Or do you believe maybe that this happened for a reason and this is best?
Everything happens for a reason.
Okay.
Everything. I think I wouldn't be sitting here right here with you if I went back and changed just a direction I took on the road. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So everything happens for a reason. I believe in that.
Do you think, and by the way, I asked this question for a lot of the entrepreneurs out there that do have marital issues because they're entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
Most entrepreneurs do go through that, but also for the female entrepreneurs out there that can learn from your experience.
Yeah.
What would you advise female entrepreneurs who are maybe going through a rocky marriage or struggling with their partners because they want to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
What would you advise them?
Well, the thing is, I can't give marital advice.
Right.
But the only thing I can say is that when you're choosing a life partner, especially as a woman, choose someone that understands what you do and believes in it and supports you. You don't need someone to break your wings and clip them. You need someone to give you wings and push you up in the sky. And if you're not with that person, then you're going to struggle because they're never going to understand what you're doing. And yes, being an entrepreneur keeps you busy, and with the right partner next to you, they'll understand. But still, that your marriage and relationship should be a priority, and you should put 100% in it as well. So not to take advantage and say, hey, he understands, it's okay, I'm just going to be gone. No. Your challenge in life is to actually build a balance, which is something I don't believe in. I don't believe in life-work balance. It's a myth. It doesn't exist. I believe that each one of us creates their own balance, and there's no book we follow.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting you said that. Mustafa Koida, who was one of our first guests, actually said the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Said eventually something is going to give. There's no silver bullet per se in terms of a work-life balance.
No.
Which brings me to my next question, actually. So how do you balance? How do you create your own balance? Because you're involved in so many different areas, so many different companies. You're a founder of that. You're a director of this. You're on the Sharjah board of commerce. And how do you? And then at the end of the day, you're also a mother.
Yeah.
Now, how do you do all that?
Prioritize.
Okay. So what's the priority then for you?
My son.
Number one priority.
Number one, my son, 100%.
Right.
Then it's my work, my son and my family. Then it's work. Then it's everything else. So, because you put your family first, and they know that, so you'd expect them to understand anything you're going through, and if you're not there. because they know they're first. But if my work came first, my family would never understand why I'm busy, why I'm gone. So putting my family first and my son is the most important thing, because nothing in this world, no money, no business, can take the place of a human being.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
In the end, these things come and go, but family is family. But prioritizing, because people say, yeah, priorities. They preach about it a lot, but apply it.
Sure.
Take it, write it down. What's your priorities in life? And just follow that. And there was a mistake that I used to do a couple of years ago, actually 2 years ago. I used to, I was like a, what do you call it? I was like octopus.
Right.
I had tentacles and everything.
Sure.
So my energy was wasted left and right. I was never focused. So you'd see me doing 9, 8 meetings a day, 10 meetings a day, traveling to things, doing things I don't have to do. But then I had a life coach that told me the more you're focused and the more your energy's focused, that's how you get things done.
Sure.
And that's how, you know, pressure works with diamonds, right?
Sure.
Because it's concentrated light.
Yes.
So, and it didn't make sense until she told me today, how many meetings do you have? And I said, today I have 10. It was in the morning. She's like, go back, out of these 10, only do 3. And I was gonna die. I was like, no, I can't, I have to. She's like, only 3. And this is how I learned how to prioritize. And then I realized the rest of the meetings could have been a phone call.
Right.
They don't even add anything to my table.
Sure.
They were just a waste of time. It's just
Sure.
me being social. So now I only waste energy and time on things that really do matter. Otherwise, I don't at all. I preserve myself as much as I can.
Okay. Tell us a little bit more about being a member on the board of the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce. How did you end up there?
So while I was going through the bankruptcy,
And not to interrupt you, are there
Yeah.
other women that sit on the board, or is it
we're
just
2
you?
and 19 men. 2 women, 19 men.
Okay.
Yeah. So while I was going through the bankruptcy, a couple of months later, I get like 1,000 texts from people congratulating me. And I was like, what's wrong? They're like, check Sheikh Dr. Sultana's Instagram account. And I checked it, and it was like a post that had the names of all the board members chosen for the Chamber of Commerce. And I see my name there between all these very well-reputed, known elder men.
Sure.
And I was like, I'm sure there's another Sara Al Madani in town. And there is in Dubai
There
somewhere.
is,
Yeah,
okay.
there is.
Yeah.
And then I was like, it's not me. It can't be me. I have 0 experience in government. Like, what's this? It's a joke. And then I see people tagging me under the post. And I was like, oh my God, this is embarrassing because it's not me.
I know. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Until I got a phone call from the government saying, you've been selected. You need to come for a couple of courses to prepare you for this position. And honestly, hands down, one of the biggest achievements I've done in my life, because the people I meet, the courses I learned, the travels I do with them, our chairman is one of the strongest and most like leader-driven person ever I've seen. And I'm the youngest on the board, but
Okay.
I'm taken so seriously, and my voice is heard as if I'm one of all of them.
Why were you chosen, do you think?
I think, you know, when you work so hard, you think no one's watching. Someone is watching,
Okay.
and someone out there is looking, and you will be applauded and appraised for everything you've done. So don't give up.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
this might be a politically incorrect question to ask, but was there no chance, do you think, of you being, chosen to sit on the board just to kind of balance out the ratio, that was maybe a reason?
There was actually, it's an election thing that
Okay.
happens. So they've had names,
Right.
and they've shrunk until. So in the
Understood.
beginning, I thought maybe I'm just a quota.
Right. That's what
Maybe.
I was trying to get to.
Or maybe because I'm like, I'm just open-minded. I'm not your typical Emirati girl.
Right.
So I might be a good balance on such a board. And this actually haunted me for a while, until I was like, they were like, no, you were actually selected. And there was a lot of girls in Sharjah
What
that
a-
could be chosen, but it was you.
What do you mean by that, though? You're not a typical Emirati girl. What does that mean?
I'm not your typical Emirati girl. So I'm a little bit more on edge.
Okay.
I'm not shy, outspoken, very strong personality, and like I fear nothing, like 0 fear towards failure and
Okay.
so many other things. And even the way I look, like you can see my nose ring, and typically from the way I look, I don't look like a typical Emirati girl, which is good because I remember Dr. Sheikh Sultan once said something in a meeting we had with him, and I love him like a father figure. He's amazing, role model. He was like, him and his wife actually, they said, we never ever hire or judge people based on the way they look.
Okay.
We buy that. We buy this.
Sure.
We invest in this. And that resonated in me so much. And then I was like, because I used to take off my nose rings when I had meetings, but then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep this.
Okay.
I'm gonna go in with my weird sneakers under my abaya, and I'm gonna go in with like my Mickey Mouse background on my iWatch and just be me and just play me, because they're invested in who I am, not how I look like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen that there was an actual post that you had once upon a time, a picture of you sitting on the board. I can't remember what the quote was, but it was something along the lines of, you won't allow anybody to dictate, or sorry, it's along the lines of you get what you want type of thing.
I can't remember, but I think it said that it's not what's going to stop me, it's who's going to stop me.
Correct.
Yeah, something like that.
That was it.
Yeah.
Do you say that because, you know, as a reference to your individuality or the person that you are, do you say that because you're a female?
No, I say that because of my individuality.
Your individuality.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason why I asked that is because I also wanted to know what your outlook is on supporting women out there.
Yeah.
I actually spoke to somebody that referred to you, and I personally disagree, but maybe you can clarify it, that actually called you a feminist. Are you a feminist?
I know at a certain point, but yes.
Right.
I'll tell you my way of thinking of this. So I don't think I hate the word women empowerment. Oh my God, it kills me. Because we're not weak. We don't need empowerment. You inspire a woman, she'll create wonders. She's dangerous if she's inspired. I mean, the most simplest example I can give you is when a woman is in love, what she does for the man she loves. She's inspired.
Right.
So don't give me the tools to make it happen. Show me I can and I'll do it.
Right.
And this is what happens to women now in our culture and everything is women don't know they can. If they know, they will.
It's a very interesting take, by the way. I really love what you said there, that women actually don't need empowerment.
No.
But more like, you know, give them something they're passionate about.
Yeah. And
you're absolutely
by the
right.
way, I'll tell you something funny. A lot of the organization out there that support women and give women what they need, for example, free license, free, I don't know what, free.
Sure.
This slowly kills the individuality of a woman. It kills everything in her because she's dependent. And then these organizations complain because they're like, oh, she failed, now she's asking for more. Well, you made her into that. You made her into a person that's dependent on you.
Right.
What you want to do is just give her some simple tools and let her do it. I don't think we're weak. I don't think we need help. I mean, I don't see a bunch of men running in the street holding hands saying we're men empowerment, you know what I mean? So we don't need that. And I always, because I'm a public speaker as well, so whenever I start talking, and it's a women empowerment, let's say, or inspirational talk, I always say that back then in Islam, in the Prophet's days, Muhammad, he was working for his wife, which was a businesswoman, which was older than him, and he was working for her and he married her. So I look at 2018 and 2017 and I think, are we moving forward or are we moving backwards?
Sure.
You know, what's happening?
Yeah.
So to me, being a woman was never a problem. Like, it was never even an issue. And I think we reached a certain time in life where gender is doesn't even exist.
Sure.
Like, we should be genderless by now, you know what I mean? Because we're equal at everything.
I agree.
But
absolutely.
if we cause and create that drama about it and, you know, market it in a way that women need that, of course, we're always going to stay down because that's how we look at ourselves and we market ourselves.
Sure.
And as women, I would say one advice is stop being a victim, be your own hero. Because women love to dwell on being victims.
Right.
For a change, just be a hero, be your own hero.
Cool.
Yeah.
You were talking about religion. Are you religious?
No, I am, define religious.
Do you pray 5 times a day?
I pray.
Okay, but not 5 times a day.
Not on time, but try, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now,
but I'm very spiritual. Like, I believe in
Yes.
everything, and I 100%, I'm, how do you say that? I depend on God 100%. So when people tell me, do you have a partner? Do you have this? I go like, yeah, God's my partner in everything.
Right.
So I do believe in this. Maybe I don't practice it 100%, which I wish I could. But so in time, you know, inshallah.
Sure. I want to go back to what we already discussed because something just crossed my mind. We're talking about the divorce and marital difficulties with being an entrepreneur. Do you plan on getting married in the future, or is that something?
Of course.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I mean, I'm a hopeless romantic, and I believe in love. I believe in marriage.
Okay.
So I believe that there is the one for every single person out there.
Okay.
You just have to go through some obstacles to find them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how are you going to go about finding that one?
I learned that I shouldn't search,
Okay.
and I just, you know, have an open arm, have an open door towards the idea, and that's how your energy goes out there.
Okay.
But finding the one is letting go of thinking that there is someone perfect out there, because that doesn't exist.
So who's the right guy for Sara Al Madani? For all the bachelors out there, who's the right guy for Sara Al Madani? What's the profile?
Let's
the guy
go.
that ticks all the boxes.
So I just look. The thing is, financially, status.
Right.
As long as he's like able to maintain a good life, I'm good.
What if he had a pocket full of hope?
I like that. We can get somewhere, me and him together.
Okay.
Yeah. But someone who's smart, someone who's kind. I need a kind person because I'm like that. A person who's giving sense of humor. Because I'm a goofball. I need someone like that. I don't need someone serious.
Right.
And someone who loves children. Obviously, I have a son. Someone who is ambitious, hardworking, and just believes in humanity and people, and has leadership skills, not only at work but at home, because that applies everywhere.
You didn't say anything about looks.
I don't care. Looks fade.
Really?
Looks fade.
To an extent.
Looks fade.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've been with a lot of pretty people,
Sure.
even with work and everything.
Yes.
And I met so many good-looking people that were just empty shells. You know?
Would you consider yourself good looking?
Am I? I don't know. I know one thing. I believe in this. And it's a quote that I've read somewhere. We are not bodies with a soul. We are souls with bodies.
Right.
So we are vessels.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I've always said I want a guy that looks good.
Sure.
But then I realized that that's just such a shallow way of thinking.
Sure.
It is.
All right. Now, I wanted to ask, because we were talking about you being a board member in the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce. Tongue twister.
Yeah.
How do you avoid any, how do I phrase this? Conflict of interest, right? So being in a certain position, right? Being on the board with certain abilities, maybe power, whatever it is, influences. How do you avoid that conflict of interest between that and your personal life or anything else that you do?
So the first thing a board member has to do is sign a paper.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing to enter, like, to be a board member, and it includes all the rules and regulations when it comes to like what you mentioned and all that, conflict of interest. The second thing, as a board member, you need to know is that you're in there for the well-being of the country and of the city you're in.
Okay.
It's not about you. It's not about your work. So conflict of interest is a huge thing in the government.
Right.
Yeah, and it's something we don't mess around with.
Okay.
So in terms of my external life, how like, is this also what you meant as well?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So as long as I'm serving the board the right way, doing what I have to do, because we take financial decisions, we think of the growth of the city, the economy, and basically the industry and the commerce of the city.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you take your personal interest out of that.
And you're referring to Sharjah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm also a board member in Dubai as well.
Okay.
But when you do that, you completely exclude yourself, and that's where you serve from your heart.
Right.
Completely.
Why do you think there are so many more expats that start businesses and gain more traction in Dubai as opposed to Sharjah?
You guys are more than us. We're like
I know.
a tiny percentage of a fraction of the amount, right?
I understand.
So it's nine. How many are we? 9 million now?
So about 9 point something million.
We are 1.8, I think, Emiratis or less.
No more. I think it was closer to 10%.
No.
I thought it was closer to 10%.
We need to go through this.
Well, yeah, we'll double check that.
Yeah.
But the question is, why is it that so many more expats engage with Dubai or start businesses in Dubai as opposed to Sharjah? I can't really think of the last time.
You mean to Sharjah?
Sorry?
You mean between Sharjah and Dubai?
Correct. Why do more expats set up businesses here in Dubai as opposed to setting up businesses and choosing Sharjah as their point of residence or anything like that?
Well, Sharjah is a very family-oriented area.
Right.
It's very quiet, very family-oriented. It's diverse.
Sure.
Now, Sharjah is one of the biggest industrial places in the country. Most of the factories, the companies, the industrial ones are all based in Sharjah. Now, the entrepreneurial, whether you're putting me in a very tight situation here between Sharjah and Dubai, because in the end, every emirate has its personality, right? And has its own thing. But the entrepreneurial spirit in the whole country is still young.
Okay.
We're only like 40-something years old, right? While entrepreneurship in America is like over 200 years old.
Sure.
So we are still learning. Each city is understanding what it has to do, how it has to do it.
Sure.
Every city, every emirate is unique in its own way, and it's not trying to copy each other. And that's what makes the UAE beautiful. So each kind of business resonates in a different city. You know what I mean? I have friends who are in Fujairah and doing business. I have friends who are doing this. They're close to the port. So I think in the end, it's all about how you want to go with your work. And Dubai is escalating faster than most of the Emirates.
Sure.
But I think the rest are following really fast. Like there's a lot of things coming out of Sharjah as well right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
As we get closer to the end, I just want to ask you a few things quickly. What are the initiatives that you're currently involved in terms of businesses? Because we went through a few of them.
Yeah.
Just quickly touch on them and let us know what they are and why you got involved in them.
All right. So I have my fashion line,
Okay.
Sara Al Madani Fashion Design.
Which is the initial business that you set up from
That's
way back in the day
that's the
that
first.
almost went under.
Yes.
Actually, you went bankrupt at one point, but you held on to it. Okay.
Yeah. That's one thing.
Why do you
And,
hold on to it? Is it profitable, by the way?
It is profitable, but not as it used to be.
Okay.
Because when a business goes through court, it gets affected
Sure.
reputation-wise and all that. Because you can't just go out there and tell everyone, I didn't do anything wrong.
What do you mean by reputation? Do you have a bad reputation?
No,
among
not a
certain
bad
people?
reputation, but people say, why should I buy from that brand? It was in court for 4 years. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's something like that.
Sure.
So I guess it is profitable, but not the way it used to be.
Okay.
It used to, oh man, it used to rain back in the days.
Right.
But
Do you have any partners in that?
No, I'm single in
It's just
that.
you.
Yeah.
Are you looking for partners in that?
I don't mind expansion. I don't mind partnership. I love people, and I believe we grow with people.
Okay.
But I think the reason why I hold on very tight to that business is because of the people that are working with me. They've been with me for almost
Okay.
14, 15
I was
years.
going to say, is that your flagship
Yeah.
business? Because that's the one that you've been in
Yeah.
for the longest, that you struggled with the
It
most.
teaches me every day.
Right.
Till this day, it teaches me. It positions me.
Okay.
You know, having sometimes, and I'm sure if you talk to any entrepreneur that are serial entrepreneurs, they do have businesses that don't make a lot of money, but they keep them because it's a positioning for them, it's a
Sure.
reputation, it's a learning experience, it's an exposure. Like the fashion shows I do around the world, the people I mingle and mix around with. But my most and foremost motivation is my staff, because they have families and they've been with me for the longest years. That relationship is priceless. They're living off it, so. And it's teaching me, so why take it off?
Okay.
Yeah.
Next, what else do you have?
And I do have Social Fish.
Okay.
My business partner in Social Fish is a person you know, Amar Wasaidi.
Yes. Yes.
So it's a creative consultancy where we go into companies and initiatives or anything and just flip it into a creative place and give them creative ideas.
Okay.
And we do also tech consultancy as well.
Okay.
And then if we give you an idea in tech, that's where I move it to my other company, Hula Tech.
Hula
But
Tech
my
based out of?
partner is in LA.
In LA.
Pasadena, yeah.
Okay.
So my partner Sam there, Sam is just amazing. He's like a tech guru. I'm not.
Sure.
I have zero knowledge in tech.
Right.
But so if I consult you and you like the idea, I can manufacture hardware, software, and everything for you.
Right.
From games to software to hardware we have the full facility manufacturing warehouses and everything to do all that.
Okay.
We do robotics. I can just create anything for you. It's beautiful. But and then I have F&B. I ventured into F&B as well now, where I'm expanding, and which is fun because I have zero knowledge in F&B. And what else do you do, Sarah? What else do I do?
I have a question.
Yeah.
With doing all of this stuff,
Yeah.
did you never really spread yourself too thin to the point where you said, you know what, I can't do it, I've taken on so
Of course.
much? Okay.
No, I've tried. I'm a curious person. Now, the reason why I'm into these businesses that I have zero knowledge
Yes.
in food and tech and all that, is because I believe God gave us a brain that I'm sure my brain is not just meant to be for fashion only.
Sure.
So I got to explore myself, right?
Okay.
So all I did is I Googled how to open a restaurant and then opened it with my partner.
Okay.
Googled tech and found partners and worked with them. So everything's available online. No
Okay.
one has a reason to say I can't
Sure.
do anything anymore,
Sure.
right? I don't have to be a graduate of a certain sector to work in it.
Which of the
But-
businesses do you enjoy the most?
Actually, I enjoy people, so
Right.
all of them are fun for me.
Okay.
Social Fish is fun because usually in every company your weakness is the service or product you provide, and you get scared because what if something happens with that? But in Social Fish it's here, so no one can take that away.
Which one do you spend more time working on? Let me put it that way.
My tech company.
In
Yeah.
Pasadena.
Pasadena, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the creative agency. And I'm launching a new tech startup soon in Dubai.
You're treating them as kids where you can't pick one over the other.
I know, see?
You know, you're trying to keep the equality, I noticed that.
Babies, yeah.
Which is actually going to be very difficult for you to answer the next question. I was going to ask you actually at one point, who are the people in your life that you're closest to, besides your kid? I'm talking about family, maybe your parents.
Yeah.
This is a tough one. I'm going to try to put you under this pressure, but
Okay.
if you had to choose, who are you closer to, mom or dad?
Dad.
Dad? Okay.
Sorry, Mom, I love you. We'll go shopping soon, okay?
Do you have a good relationship with your mom?
course,
Yeah.
I love her.
Okay.
She's also my best friend.
Your
but,
siblings?
But I'm a daddy's girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And my sister is 3 years younger, and I have a 10 years younger brother.
Okay.
So when you're the eldest, you're automatically a parent.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So this happens. So yeah, and
It's good. You're all right. Don't worry. Your iPhone went off.
a businesswoman is always working. It's on. It's
By the
on.
way,
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe you should take the call on camera.
I actually no. This will take a very long time. Yeah, no
Fair
worries.
enough.
Yeah.
Now,
But yeah, a daddy's girl.
okay.
definitely.
As we get ready to wrap it up, I just wanted to ask you very quickly, what is the advice that you want to give to entrepreneurs out there? If you can think of the top 3
Yeah.
pieces of advice, what would it be?
See, the first thing before starting or taking that first step, you can't sell or a product or a service or any idea to anyone unless you believe in it. So the first step into doing anything is believing. Once you believe, it's easy to start anywhere, however, or wherever. Number 2, when you start a business, you're not expected to create a miracle. And innovation is not about creating something that hasn't been out there. You can take something that exists, apply it differently, and innovate in it. So don't be scared of taking that step, because that step can be anything as long as it's a step. A lot of entrepreneurs want to perfect it. You don't have to perfect it. Just get out there and do it. The last thing I want to say is that don't ever be intimidated or scared by failure. Because I swear to God, I wouldn't have been the person I am, as strong as I am, and a public speaker, and I'm doing all of this if I haven't failed. Failure is one step towards the ladder of success. And if you want to jump that, guess what? You'll fall. So
Right.
don't even try. You got to get on top of that. You got to pass that. You got to learn from that.
Right.
So don't even be intimidated by failure. You know what? I actually saw a video that I share with a lot of the people I do public speaking with. A couple of months ago, I saw a video online where this guy gets an ant. I don't know if you've seen it.
No.
And gets a pen
Okay.
and draws a dark line around the ant.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So she goes crazy,
Yes.
trying not to touch
Right.
something that doesn't exist. So
Right.
this is how fear is. It's in your mind.
Right.
It's a wall you've built. You got to take that wall down
Right.
and just get out of your comfort zone.
Right. By the way, tell me very quickly, during this crazy entrepreneurial journey, at
Yeah.
one point you said you've had staff members that worked with you for the past 14 years.
Yeah.
You've had your fair share of ups and downs. At times you struggled with making payroll and so on. How did you retain these people? I mean, were they simply loyal to you? Did you have to do something?
No.
What did you do?
See, this is why I always emphasize on the fact that when team works, dream works. My team are my family. And when you're a leader, you're a parent, you're a friend, you're a mentor, you're a guidance, you're a manager, you're so much more. When I hit rock bottom, I went to all of them and I was like, I can't pay salaries for 2 months. If you want to leave, let me know. If you can't, if you want to stay with me, because I know I can make this happen. Out of, like, some of them just left because they were just scared from
Sure.
instability.
How many do you remember?
Out of 82, around 37 or 36 stayed.
Okay.
Yeah. The rest were, they told me, we believe in you, but we're just scared. We have families, which I totally understand. The rest were like, ma'am, we're with you. You know, we love you, we trust you, we know
Sure.
you can do this.
Sure.
So it pays off when you have that great relationship with you and your employees.
Right.
And to me, they're family, and I really put them first. They come as a priority. They're my friends. What I do is I revolve around my staff. I eat lunch with a group of people from one company. I eat dinner with a group of people from one company. So I'm always there as like a friend,
Sure.
but they know I have red lines when it comes to work
Sure.
as well. Yeah.
Now, you're also talking about all the success. One thing I wanted to know is I'm sure there's been a fair share of people that believed in you, such as the staff, people that supported you. There were also some people that obviously didn't believe in you.
Yeah.
Now, for the ones that did believe in you, what is it that you remember the most from a particular person? Something that they might have done for you or said to you that made you realize, oh my God, this person really believes in me.
I guess when you fail, you realize who your true friends are, who your true people are. Because you go from because being in the social light and being in the industry for so long, I know everyone in the UAE.
Sure.
So it went from a circle this big to a circle this small.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is something I'm very grateful for. I realize
Sure.
that the smaller the circle, the healthier you are.
Sure.
So I can't remember one thing that someone said, but I remember all of them just being by my side,
Sure.
supporting me, going with me to court, and just being there, asking me if I need anything and all that.
I'm sure you might remember this then. For some reason, the negative stuff resonates with people more, right? But
Yeah.
what was the worst thing that was said to you?
The worst thing that was said to me. Oh, I remember. It was actually by a lawyer
Okay.
when we were in court, and he was like, "You're a woman. Just go home and sit and cook."
Right.
Yeah.
He actually said that to
Yeah.
you. What did you say?
And I remember I just went furious in the courtroom, and I got kicked out. They're like, "Leave the courtroom." I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
And they're like,
yeah.
"You leave the courtroom."
Right.
But I was like, "How dare you
Yeah.
like say that to me? Like, where's the respect? Like, what do you do? Like, you
Right.
run a law firm? I run
Sure.
6 companies. Like,
Right.
seriously?"
Right.
So it was so, it made me feel like instead of me feeling this small, I felt like he was that small.
Right.
And I was like, I feel sorry for your wife.
By the way, I just remembered as well that you've got such a beautiful relationship with your kid.
Yeah.
You were saying earlier that he's your priority. You actually brought him to the studio.
He's
actually,
with me everywhere I
guys,
go.
can we bring little Maktoum here? Yeah. Okay. So I guess I'll bring him.
Yeah, so the thing is, the reason why I take my son everywhere, a lot of women always negatively give me comments and say, don't drag your kid to work just because you don't have time for your kid. No, the reason why I'm dragging my kid to work is because I want my kid to see how hard I work to provide for the toys I get him, for the food he has on his table. He needs to see his mom hustling every day, because he needs to understand it, because coming from a culture that's a bit like, not aligned with that, but which is changing, alhamdulillah, now.
Sure.
He needs to understand, because whatever I'm doing, all this empire I'm building,
Sure.
is his. And
Right.
you know how it is on the,
You
come
can hear
here, sit here, sit here. All right.
Beautiful kid.
But they were wearing the same
Mashallah.
shirt because he forces me to wear the same clothes.
That's cute.
Mama,
That's cute.
do you love me?
Hey, Maktoum.
How much do you love me?
How are you?
2? Cheap.
All
So
right.
the thing is, I really, really want my son to be social, because I've been with people who aren't, and
Sure.
I've seen how that affects their work.
Sure.
And then in the Arab world, sit.
Oh, he's all right. Don't worry. Yeah.
Okay, sit with mommy. So, and in the Arab world, they say it takes a second generation
Sure.
to kill a first generation's
Right.
legacy.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get my child involved at a very young age.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to tell you, Sarah, honestly, it was very
I'm so
inspirational.
sorry.
No, it's great. I love having him. I wanted to get a kid on the show for the longest time.
Now you
so-
do. Now you do.
Well, listen, there you have it, guys. We're at the end of the episode. Want to thank you so much, Sarah,
Thank you.
for making it to the show. And until then, guys, this is your host, Omar, signing off. Thanks for watching.